The first person who stops you at an airport is never trying to scare you. But the truth is, customs and immigration officers are trained to read you in the very first 3 seconds, not your passport, not your documents, you, the way you stand, the way you breathe, the tiny micro reactions you don't even notice. Because long before they ask their first question, they already have a sense of whether you're confident, nervous, hiding something, or just caught off guard by the intensity of international travel. And if you've ever wondered why 2 people with the exact same passport can have 2 completely different experiences at the border, this is why. What most travelers never realize is that every officer's job is split between 2 missions: protect the country and keep the line moving. And if you accidentally fall into the category of extra attention needed, your trip can instantly shift from smooth and uneventful to stressful, delayed, and unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. But here's the good news. Once you understand the questions they ask and the real hidden reason behind each one, you stop being the confused traveler fumbling for answers and become the person who breezes through with quiet confidence. You'll notice something the moment you step up to the counter. The officer isn't just listening to your answers, they're watching your timing. Hesitation is a red flag. Over-explaining is a red flag. Answering too quickly, before the question is fully asked, also a red flag. They're not trying to trap you. They're trying to confirm that your story makes sense from start to finish. That's why the very first question they ask is almost always deceptively simple. What is the purpose of your trip? It sounds easy, but it's designed to verify one thing: whether what you say matches your documentation, your itinerary, your tone, and your confidence. And here's where most travelers accidentally raise eyebrows. They freeze. They add unnecessary details. They ramble. They give a short story when the officer only wants a headline. The truth is, customs and immigration officers aren't judging your character. They're verifying consistency business. Vacation, visiting family, medical appointment. The more straightforward, the better. But what they're really doing is watching how you react to a question you already knew was coming. Because if you get shaky here, they know the tougher questions might unravel you. Here's where things get interesting. Officers also use what they call baseline breaks, moments where your behavior shifts suddenly. You start out calm, then become anxious, or you look relaxed, but your voice changes when you mention your hotel. These aren't signs of guilt. They're signs that something isn't adding up, and they pay attention even if you think you're hiding it. That's why they might follow up with something harmless, like, "How long are you staying?" But the real purpose is to compare your answer with the first one. Same tone, same confidence, same emotional consistency. If yes, you're fine. If not, they lean in. But here's the twist you probably never realized. Officers aren't just listening for truth. They're listening for rehearsed answers. You'd think sounding prepared would help. It doesn't. A memorized script stands out instantly. Real answers flow naturally. Rehearsed ones hit like a checklist, and officers can feel the difference. So if you've ever wondered why they suddenly shift from friendly to serious, or from distant to unusually warm, it's because of the signals you're giving without knowing it. In the first 30 seconds, they're already deciding whether you're the kind of traveler who clears the line quickly or the kind who needs a deeper look. And that's why understanding these questions matters. Because the truth is simple. The officer isn't trying to intimidate you. They're trying to understand you. And once you know what they listen for, the process becomes dramatically easier. You stop feeling like you're being interrogated and start feeling like you're simply passing through a checkpoint you already understand. The moment you clear that first question, the officer will usually move to something that seems basic but carries far more weight than most travelers realize. Where are you staying? It sounds like small talk. It isn't. This question tests whether your travel plans are grounded in reality or if you're improvising on the spot. Officers already know the most common hotels, neighborhoods, and tourist zones in their country. If your answer doesn't match a real location, a known area, or a believable plan, the red flags go up instantly. And here's the part most people don't know. They're not checking whether your hotel is expensive or cheap. They're checking if your story is coherent. A confident traveler answers in one clean sentence. I'm staying at the Hilton in downtown Vancouver. An Airbnb near Shibuya Station. With family in Dubai Marina. Simple, direct, confirmable. But the moment you say something unclear, I think it's a Marriott, maybe, somewhere near the water, the officer starts wondering if you actually booked anything at all. And if you haven't, that's fine. You just need a clear reason why. They aren't judging your income. They're verifying your intent. But hesitation here is one of the top triggers for secondary screening. Then comes the question that catches almost every traveler off guard. How long will you be staying? Most people answer honestly, but forget one crucial detail. The tone. Immigration officers don't just assess the length of your stay. They assess whether your answer emotionally matches your purpose. A tourist staying 10 days should sound like someone looking forward to a 10-day trip. A business traveler staying 48 hours should sound like someone who already has a schedule. If the tone doesn't match the plan, it creates friction. And in immigration, friction becomes suspicion. Not always enough for a detention, but often enough for a deeper look. Now, the next question is designed to test consistency on a completely different level. What do you do for work? Many travelers think this is random. It isn't. Your occupation often predicts your likelihood of overstaying a visa, working illegally, or having mismatched documentation. A traveler with stable employment typically answers smoothly. Someone between jobs might start over-explaining. Someone nervous might inflate their title, and officers can sense all of it. What they want is clarity, not a resume. One clean sentence is enough. Anything more can sound like you're trying too hard. But here's a curiosity reset. Officers aren't trying to find something wrong with you. They're trying to confirm nothing feels off. Which is why the next question is one of the most psychologically revealing. Who are you traveling with? If you hesitate, look around, or give answers that don't match your behavior, they'll notice traveling solo? That's normal. Traveling with family? Also normal. Traveling with a partner? Easy. But the moment your answer doesn't match the social cues, maybe the person beside you pretends they don't know you, or your stories don't align, officers pay attention. Not because they think you're a criminal, but because they're trained to detect dynamics that don't make sense. This is why officers sometimes follow up with something surprising. How do you know each other? Not to be nosy, but to confirm your emotional baseline. Friends sound like friends. Couples sound like couples. Co-workers sound like co-workers. When the tone doesn't match the relationship, something feels off. And when something feels off, they probe deeper. Not aggressively, just carefully. Because immigration isn't about catching lies, it's about confirming truths. The more natural you sound, the quicker the process becomes. And now you're about to see why certain travelers get waved through instantly, while others get questioned for minutes. It has nothing to do with the passport, and everything to do with one specific question coming next. There's a moment at the counter, quiet, subtle, and easy to miss, when the interview shifts. Up until now, everything has been about your plans, your intentions, your logistics. But then the officer asks a question that feels simple on the surface, but carries more psychological weight than anything before it. Have you ever visited this country before? To most travelers, it feels like background trivia. To immigration officers, it's one of the most revealing filters they use. If you've been here before, your name and travel history should match their system records instantly. If it doesn't, something's wrong. If you haven't been here before, your reaction becomes part of the assessment. People telling the truth tend to answer quickly and calmly. People hiding past issues, visa overstays, detentions, previous refusals, often shift tone, avoid eye contact, or over-explain. Officers watch for that shift, not because they expect wrongdoing, but because they're trained to catch inconsistencies before they become problems. But here's the deeper layer. Your answer also hints at your expectations. First-timers usually show curiosity or excitement. Return travelers show familiarity. When your tone doesn't match your history, it raises questions. A traveler who has visited 5 times but can't remember basic details? Suspicious A first-timer who sounds rehearsed or robotic? Also suspicious. Immigration isn't just listening for facts, they're listening for emotional continuity. Then comes the question that stops even confident travelers in their tracks. How much cash are you carrying? Most people panic here because they think there's a right number. There isn't. Officers ask this to prevent money laundering, undeclared large transfers, or travelers arriving with no funds at all. They don't care if you're carrying $20 or $2,000. They care whether your financial readiness matches your trip. Someone staying 3 weeks with only $30 raises concerns. Someone staying 2 days with $5,000 raises different concerns. It's not the amount, it's the logic. And if your answer sounds uncertain, that uncertainty becomes the red flag, not the money itself. And then, almost every traveler's least favorite question: are you bringing any food, plants, or restricted items? People think this is about snacks. It isn't. This question protects ecosystems, agriculture, and biosecurity. Officers don't want to fine you. They want to prevent accidental contamination. A simple, "Yes, I have packaged snacks," or "No, nothing to declare," is all they need. But hesitate, hide something, or try to be clever, and suddenly what could have been a harmless moment becomes a problem. Officers don't like surprises. They like clarity. Here's the curiosity reset. The next question is where travelers accidentally get themselves flagged without realizing it. Because officers know you're telling the truth or lying before they even ask it, they just need to confirm the behavior matches the answer. That question is, did you pack your bags yourself? Most travelers answer automatically, yes. But officers are watching your face, your timing, and your expression. This question isn't really about you, it's about security protocol. If someone else tampered with your bags, they need to know. But if you hesitate or seem unsure, even for a second, it triggers a deeper security check. Not because they think you did something wrong, but because you might be unaware of what someone else placed in your luggage. And now you're approaching the final question, the one that determines whether you're waved through or pulled aside. It's the question travelers answer confidently when they're being honest, and stumble on when something feels even slightly off, and the officer knows the difference instantly. The final question always feels deceptively gentle, almost like small talk compared to everything that came before it. The officer looks at you with a neutral expression and asks, "Do you have anything to declare?" It sounds simple, it sounds routine, but make no mistake. This is the moment your entire interview has been building toward, because this question, more than any other, tests the alignment between your words, your documentation, and the instincts the officer has been forming about you since the moment you stepped forward in line. Officers already know the answer before you speak. They've scanned your body language, evaluated your confidence, analyzed your reactions, and compared everything against your passport profile. What they're looking for now is honesty. Pure, straightforward honesty. Not fear, not over-explanation, not cleverness, and especially not the traveler who suddenly chooses this moment to become vague. If you declare what you need to declare, whether it's a bottle of wine, a gift, a bit of tobacco, or a small purchase, you pass. If you hide something and they find it, even if it's minor, you immediately become high risk in their system. The key is understanding that declare doesn't always mean you're in trouble. Often it means, let's verify this quickly and move on. Travelers who declare honestly breeze through. Travelers who hide things, even accidentally, face delays, fines, or secondary inspection. And officers can sense the shift the moment a lie enters the conversation. Your eyes, your breathing, your timing, all change slightly. That's why this last question matters so much. It's not just about the items, it's about your willingness to be transparent. And here's the truth. Most travelers never realize officers judge your credibility long before they judge your compliance. If you've answered consistently, calmly, and confidently up to this point, your final answer is almost always enough. They don't need perfection. They need alignment. But if your story had gaps, if your tone shifted, your explanations wobbled, or your nerves spiked at random moments, this final question becomes the final test. It tells them whether to wave you through or direct you toward the inspection area behind the frosted glass. But the deeper secret is this: immigration and customs officers aren't trying to intimidate you. They're trying to protect the border and keep thousands of travelers safe. They don't want long interviews. They don't want unnecessary detentions. They want clarity. That's why understanding these questions gives you such an advantage. Because once you understand the hidden purpose behind each one, you stop acting like a nervous traveler and start carrying yourself like someone who belongs exactly where you are. And the moment you answer the final question, everything happens fast. The officer stamps your passport, slides it back to you, and says the words every traveler wants to hear: welcome. That single moment, 2 seconds long, signals that your story made sense from start to finish. You pass the silent test happening beneath the surface. You read the room, you held your confidence, you walked through one of the most scrutinized checkpoints in the world, and made it look effortless. Because now you understand the real truth. You were never being judged. You were being verified. And once you know how the system works, you stop fearing the process and start moving through it with the kind of calm that makes officers trust you instantly. You've been watching Terminal Insider, where real travelers learn what really happens behind the scenes. Subscribe, because the next travel secret is already on its way.